Hi, friend. This week I'm popping in just to share a little more context as to why I created Stripped, who I work with, and what I hope you take away from this podcast. Now, before we jump in, I just want to warn you that today's episode contains context that may be alarming for some listeners. So please check the show notes for a more detailed description. Throw out the rules, forget the cliches. This isn't about the perfect profile or the perfect date. It's about real connection. It's time to strip away the masks, shed the stories, and drop those old patterns that no longer serve you. Tired of dating advice that doesn't fit? So are we. Welcome to Stripped, Drop Your Patterns, where conscious dating isn't about following a script. It's about embracing your whole self and attracting the kind of love that sets your soul on fire. I'm Rachel J., the connection coach and your host. Let's get real. Welcome back. Now, I started coaching men on emotional vulnerability, boundaries, and connection in my 20s. I've always enjoyed having close male friendships, and I loved being their go-to for feminine perspective in their romantic lives. So I guess if you think of like the girl next door best friend trope, that was me. Fast forward, and after the 2016 election and the immense fracture that it created, I felt a real passionate call to do something. I knew how I was feeling, and I desperately wanted to help people feel seen and comforted. This was the beginning of the serendipitous unfolding that led to me becoming a cuddlist. In my 8 years as a practitioner of platonic touch therapy, I came to see that the demographic who sought the service the most was men. Single and partnered, neurotypical and neurodivergent, straight and queer, from all ethnic backgrounds from early 20s up to late 70s. What these men all had in common was their desire to feel seen and supported. Their conditioning had taught them that the only acceptable feelings for them to express fell into two categories: anger or lust. Any feelings that don't fall into one of those categories had to be stuffed away because, quote unquote, real men don't cry. Have you heard this before? Does this resonate with you? Male bonds were not encouraged through emotional vulnerability and intimacy. They were encouraged through sports and the pride of being part of a team. Now, side note, this is one reason why my branding is related to American football, and I use language related to that. And more specifically, my team, the San Francisco 49ers, because sports language is a greater access point for men who grew up with this conditioning. But additional cultural pressures for unhealthy masculinity also kept those bonds from allowing for deeper connection. So, what happens when men are wired to stuff any emotion that is associated with, again, quote unquote, being a girl? Because it's not like restricting their expression makes them immune to experiencing them. What happens is that these men shut down any emotions that feel uncomfortable, and left unattended too long, they'll come out in one way or another. That pressure that gets created continues to build until the gasket blows. Often, how this manifests is through verbal or physical outbursts, substance abuse, reckless behaviors, affairs, self-harm, violence toward others, or suicide. Every time I hear on the news about an individual enacting a mass shooting or taking their own life, my heart sinks. Obviously heartbroken for the targets and their families, but also because this could have been avoided. Yes, with stricter gun laws, but even before getting to that point of weapon acquisition. The individual at the helm of whatever tragedy ensues is more than likely a person who felt isolated, that did not feel safe with their heavy emotions, nor did they have the tools to navigate them, and oftentimes they didn't feel they had the support to really hear those emotions and those heavy feelings. For example, when Stephen Twitch Boss took his life in December 2022, I was devastated. It's still really hard to think about, honestly. I had watched Twitch on every season of So You Think You Can Dance, and he had always stood out before he was well known. And he was so memorable because he just had so much light exuding from him. It came through in everything that he did. And after So You Think You Can Dance, he went on to DJ for the Ellen DeGeneres show, and he and his wife would post frequent and super cute dancing videos on Instagram. So here was someone who seemingly had everything going for him, and yet he felt that he didn't have the support to navigate his heavy emotions. This was not a person that anyone would have suspected to intentionally end his life. Now, more has come out in the last 2.5 years since Twitch's death about what he may have been experiencing at that time. And though it is contentious, regardless of what camp you're in, one thing is clear. This beautiful man suppressed a depth of pain that, for whatever reason, he did not feel safe to share with his closest loved ones. Oh, I get choked up even now thinking about it. So why do I specialize in working with men when this podcast is intended for all genders? Because we all grow up with gender role conditioning that limits how we show up in our relationships. These limitations create barriers in our interactions because we're so focused on the rules when what we're craving is real connection. And when autonomous individuals have a partnership that is healthy and they're able to express themselves fully, not just when times are good, but when shit gets complicated and heavy and scary to say out loud, then we can also feel more connected to ourselves and more able to navigate whatever life throws at us. So this is why I primarily work with men in their 30s who are ready for a meaningful relationship, ready to shed those limiting aspects of traditional masculinity, and ready to attract a partner who will love them in their wholeness. I love guiding these men to upgrade their mindset, lead with clarity and confidence, optimize their approach, and fine-tune their communication and connection skills. The clients I work with have so much to offer, but they just need a bit of feminine encouragement and clear directive to feel whole within themselves, and from that place, be able to attract the partner that they seek, a partner who will love them in their wholeness, especially when it's hard. But for these men to attract such a partner, women need to also explore the ways that their conditioning has influenced their beliefs and actions so that they can be ready for such a solid, integrated man. My aim with this podcast is to bridge the gap between male and female experience when it comes to dating and relationships. When we can all understand the person across from us just a little bit better, we have a deeper capacity to connect, not just in our romantic interactions, but in our day-to-day interactions, whether it's with our boss or colleagues, our best friend, our barista, family members, and that energy of connection and understanding and compassion can have a ripple effect far greater than what we can see in the moment. So, if you're willing to drop your patterns, you are likely to meet your beloved much, much sooner. That's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, comment, and subscribe to Stripped wherever you get your podcasts. And if you are single, success-minded man in your 30s seeking a community with other men to share your dating challenges and successes, as well as get real-time insider feedback from me, I invite you to join my free monthly meetup, Free Dating Advice for Men from a Woman. This is where I answer questions related to dating approach, owning your worth, navigating #MeToo concerns, updating your profile, interpreting the mysterious female response, and anything else that you're curious about. This is your opportunity to ask that random question that you don't feel comfortable asking your buddies, so don't pass it up. You can also meet other men who are in the same boat, and your question might help them, and they might have questions that help you. This is free event, a free group, free event monthly. So I will be linking the information, how to join the group, and the events in the show notes. And then for those of you who would like a more hands-on approach to feeling worthy and whole, optimizing your dating brain, attracting your ideal match, and getting more high-quality dates in less time, I invite you to schedule a complimentary kickoff call where we can determine what's in your way of that relationship that you're seeking and strategize an action plan to achieve it. Again, check out the show notes below for more info on both of these opportunities to connect. This is Stripped, where we all have patterns and we learn how to drop them together. Stay curious and stay kind. Bye for now.